Hello, welcome back. In this relatively short video, I'm going to show you guys how easy it is for you newbies to make homemade breakfast sausage at home with the gear you probably have anyway that you use to process your venison. Making breakfast sausage at home out of pork shoulder is actually very easy to do. I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down there and check this out. So how to make easy homemade breakfast sausage. First I got to show you what you're going to need. So first, how about a Boston butt? This is the upper part of a pork shoulder. You guys can find them at your grocery store, usually on sale for $1.50 a pound, something like that. A good seasoning mix. I'm using the Legs custom blended seasoning number 10 pork sausage seasoning for breakfast sausage. Some bags to put your ground meat in when you're finished. We're going to be making probably somewhere around 6 pounds of this stuff this time, and we're going to be using my Limb number 12 big bite grinder with a bag filling tube on the end of it. I'll show you that here in just a bit. Now, as usual, I'm going to have links to all this stuff down in the description below, but a word about grinders. If you guys don't have a meat grinder, you're thinking about getting one, if you process your own deer especially, or want to get into making sausage and stuff at home, do yourself a favor, don't buy a cheap grinder. Spend the money, it's an investment, buy the best grinder you can get. These are a little more expensive now than when I bought it. I paid $450 for this thing probably 7 or 8 years ago on sale at Bass Pro Shops. And if you think 8 years ago, doing 3 or 4 deer a year, just not paying the processing charges alone, this thing pays for itself in 1 year. Get yourself a good grinder. But if you guys have any grinder at all, you can do this project at home fairly easily. A good grinder just makes it more fun and a lot easier. So the first thing I got to do is cube up this pork shoulder. And no, I'm not even going to ask you guys to watch me cut up meat for the next 10 minutes. Now we'll show you this though. If your meat is partially frozen, it's going to make cubing and grinding go a lot better. This is kind of still a little frosty. I'll show you what I mean. This meat is just frosted. It's not totally frozen, but it's going to keep everything really cold. And keeping this stuff cold is what's going to make this go a lot easier, a lot faster, and a lot better, and it'll keep you from growing bacteria in your meat while you're doing the work. Now, a pork butt typically has an extra fat cap on top of it as well, and this is a nice part about making your own sausage at home. If you want, you can cut this fat cap off and have a less fatty sausage, or you can leave it on. There's no rules. It's up to you how you want to do it. This is the most important part of this whole video, the weights and measuring, and I'm going to make it real easy for you guys. This will be in the description below, or you can just pause this and jot this down right now if you want. You're supposed to use 1 ounce of seasoning per 3 pounds of meat if you're not making the whole 25 pounds. 2 tablespoons equals 1 ounce. 2 tablespoons equals 6 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons is 1 pound of meat. So now that we got that, it's time to mix up our meat. But first we got to weigh it, right? So we know how much seasoning to use. So the first thing we got to do is change this thing to pounds. Got to zero out our scale for the container the meat's in. Now see how much meat we have here. We have 7 pounds, 15 ounces. So basically we have 8 pounds of meat here. So yes, you're going to need a kitchen scale to do this. Now check this out. This is pretty cool. Get you a little bowl, any kind of bowl will do. Zero that out. And yes, there's math in sausage. Here's how you do the math. 2 teaspoons for 1 pound of meat. We have 8 pounds of meat. 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16. It takes 6 teaspoons for 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons per ounce, right? 16 divided by 6, 2.66 ounces for 8 pounds of meat. And I'll put that whole cheat sheet down there in the description below so you guys can get to that pretty easily. So basically 0.6 is about a half an ounce. So I'm going to go ahead and just weigh this out. This seasoning smells amazing. Close enough. After all, we're making sausage, right? Not building pianos. Now I've gone ahead and cubed up my meat a little smaller than normal. My grinder doesn't need it, but I wanted to make sure I get good spice and fat distribution throughout this sausage. So I'm going to sprinkle that in there, kind of evenly. Now we're going to add some water. You'll want to use cold water. I'm on a well, so my water's pretty cold. And I'd use about a 1/4 cup of water per pound of meat. You'll be surprised at how quickly that gets absorbed into this. I'll go a little bit less than that. I'll go about 1 3/4 cups. So I'm going to mix this meat up real good with that water. And the water's already starting to absorb pretty good into everything here. So there we go. It's all mixed up. Wash my hands. Go ahead and get the grinder ready to grind the stuff. So wait a minute, Scott. What if we want part of the sausage to be spicy or even medium spice sausage? I'm glad you asked. All right, remember our friend, Mr. Kitchen Scale? Take your bowl, zero it out. Let's split off 2 pounds of this sausage. Oh, so close. How about that? Perfect. So now we just take our red pepper flakes, and I want this to be kind of a medium, not too awful spicy. So I'm going to take about 1 teaspoon for that whole 2 pounds of meat. Actually, we'll do about half of that teaspoon. About half a teaspoon, so I don't want it too hot. And go on and mix that up real good. Now we got our limb grinder set up with a bag stuffing tube. We've got the limb bag taping unit set up. Limb, you guys ought to be paying me for this, and no, they're not, but they should be. And to make it even easier, I'm using that foot pedal switch, which simply plugs into the wall, and then you plug your grinder into that, so you can run your grinder hands-free. So I went ahead and labeled me up some bags with the date, and I put an H on the 2 pounds that are going to be hot. Make sure you got meat down in the tube. So once you got the meat in the tube, you rinse your hands off. You can use the pusher to get things going here. You don't need to put a lot of pressure on the meat bags. It's going to fill up just fine. You can fill these up as much or as little as you want. These are 1 pound bags, so about to that line right there, this line is about 1 pound. So that's about a pound. Take it off, spin it closed, and run it through your taping machine. So it tapes, trims your bag, ready for the freezer. Now with a little bits left in this grinder, it's going to be a test patty. Now we're just going to run the hot mixture through the same way, and then we'll be done, ready to try a test patty. Alright, so we're going to whip up a couple test patties here. Make them kind of thin, sausage-like. This is the hotter one here. Slightly different color. If you want your hot sausage to have a little different color so you know it's hot sausage, you can go ahead and put maybe a teaspoon per pound of paprika in it. That'll make it much more red. So you'll be able to tell the difference. And notice these patties are not shrinking up like the sausage you get at the store, because it really probably has about a 30% fat content, give or take, and the store stuff is a lot fattier. Alright, those are done. Let's get them out and try them. Alright, let's give this a try. First we're going to try the mild. I'll tell you what, I'll never buy sausage at the store again. The mild is fantastic. There's just a little bit of spiciness at it, but it's not hot at all. That legs mix is perfect. You don't need to do a thing to it. Let's see what the little bit hotter sausage tastes like. That was the right cake. Just a little bit more heat. That half a teaspoon per pound, for me, is perfect. If you like it hotter, you can make it hotter. But man, this is some kind of good. So there you go. Quick and easy homemade sausage at home using the Legs No. 10 seasoning. Guys, there is no better sausage you're ever going to buy at the store. You make it yourself. There's no gristle in it. This is the way to do it. Links to everything in the description below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And go ahead and give me that thumbs up like button too. Don't forget the bell icon down there so you don't miss videos like this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I get asked sometimes, how come you do your meat projects out in the garage instead of in your kitchen? Well, simple answer is, I don't know. Just kind of seems like a good idea. When it comes time to clean up, I have to ask my wife if I can do this in the kitchen. What do you think? I mean, for the life of me, I don't know why she'd mind if I did this kind of thing in the kitchen or out in the garage. Certainly can't make too big a difference. But I'm sure if I think hard enough, I could come up with at least one reason why it's better to do this stuff in your garage than in your kitchen. Tell you what though, if you got to set it up right, it has its advantages.